Chapter 3, So, it's a hidden big boss. His mother had mentioned before that his second aunt used to be much prettier than all the current female celebrities when she was younger. Back then, he thought that his mother had no idea what she was talking about. But he trusted her now. What a slap to his own face. She was so beautiful. On the other side, Xiao Nian was talking to someone on the phone. Damn, the Qiao family really chased you out there terrible. They used you in exchange for your sister's life and even guilt-tripped you by claiming to be your kin. And now they're chasing you out the moment they no longer see a use for you. Had you known, you shouldn't have done so much to treat Qiao Chen's illness. They don't know that if it wasn't for you, Qiao Chen wouldn't even be able to live past 20. They think that hemophilia is a flu or something and can be treated with just a pill. Xiao Nian saw someone walking towards her now. She casually said on the phone, "No matter what, the Qiao family did raise me. I've repaid them by treating Qiao Chen. Now, we have nothing to do with each other." The person on the line sounded indignant. "Don't you know how much you've helped the Qiao family all these years? If it wasn't for you, Qiao Wyman would never have been able to expand his family from Rao City to the capital. He's too dumb for that. And that younger sister of yours? You gave her tuition and helped her with her tunes. That family made you do everything possible. I used to think that they were your biological family members, but were simply biased towards your sister. Then, when I found out that they were actually not related to you, I realized how shameless they were. They knew full well that you weren't related to them by blood and still took advantage of you without treating you like family." Xiao Nian smiled, knowing that everything the other party said was accurate. "I know all about it." Xiao Nian saw that Zhang Li was approaching and lowered her volume. "I have something else to attend to, I'll hang up first." "Where are you staying tonight? Do you need me to fetch you from Rao City?" "No need, my family is coming to get me." "You're really going to look for your biological parents?" Xiao Nian looked rather nonchalant as she said, "I need to know my roots, at least who I am and where I come from." The person on the line went quiet. Xiao Nian didn't want to guess what he was thinking and simply said, "Bye." She hung up and kept her cell phone in her pocket before Zhang Li got to her. Everyone liked pretty people and things. Zhang Li happily took her stuff and carried them for her. "Nian Nian, am I right I'm your cousin, Zhang Li? Just calling me second brother will do." Xiao Nian looked up at him. Zhang Li was tall and rather good-looking, with a smile that made him look approachable. Some of his hair was highlighted in a bright purple, giving him a unique personality in his simple elegance. She felt like she'd seen this face before. Xiao Nian wasn't one who remembered faces well. If someone wasn't important enough to her, she'd just forget them. Nice to meet you, I'm Xiao Nian." She greeted him politely. So far, she seemed rather obedient and sweet, at least to Zhang Li. "Grandpa's legs aren't in a very good condition and he can't take a plane, so he got me to pick you up. He's taking a train and will arrive later. Your dad and my parents have reserved a place at Waterside Loft, and they should be there by now. Let's head there." Zhang Li smiled as he spoke to her. "Nian Nian, I've got another friend in the car. He'll be joining us later. I hope you don't mind." Chapter 4, 2 million yuan. Xiao Nian evaded his hand and did not seem to want his help with her bags. She kept a step behind him as they headed to the car and responded, "I don't mind." Zhang Li looked at his empty hands and then at his young cousin. He seemed a little confused. How had she evaded him? He hadn't seen it clearly. Zhang Li didn't think too much about it and opened the door to the back seat for her. "It's warm outside, get in first. Xiao Nian had no idea what her biological parents looked like and who they were. She simply put her information up on a website for parents to look for their lost children. It didn't take long for someone to contact her. Xiao Weiman did the rest after she was contacted. Xiao Chen had even accidentally revealed to her that her parents were teachers from Luhe County. Xiao Nian looked up at the sky and then kept her gaze. She knew this car model. Tang Jin had told her that the car itself cost 2 million yuan. This car even had a sky roof and would cost at least 3.8 million yuan. Xiao Nian raised her brow. The car that Xiao Weiman got 2 years back was just 5 million yuan. Just who was this grandfather she had in Luhe County? The cool air hit her the moment she entered the car, and she saw the friend who was joining them for a meal later. The man seemed to be in his early 20s and appeared a little cold. There was no brand logo on his shirt, but the workmanship was fantastic. The shirt fit him perfectly. The gold buttons reflected the sunlight beautifully, and there didn't seem to be a single wrinkle on his top. He looked like someone difficult to get along with. But there were several beaded bracelets around his wrist, bringing about a faint scent of sandalwood in the car. He was a strong Buddhist. Zhang Li introduced him to her. Nian Nian, he's my friend Ye Wang Chuan. You can call him brother yet. Xiao Nian glanced at him again. The car had huge leg room, but this man's long legs seemed to be in an awkward position. Xiao Nian felt his gaze on her and greeted him brother Ye with her head down. Ye Wang Chuan seemed surprised to hear how meekly she greeted him. He looked at the girl sitting by his side. Her skin was so fair. When she looked up again and peered out the car window, he could see her beautiful lashes curled upwards. She was such a sweet little girl. Zhang Li found a topic to engage her with every now and then, for fear that she'd feel awkward in the car. He also tried to introduce her family background to her. Only the man sitting right beside her kept silent the whole time. But he was like a resting lion. Quiet as he was, his presence was impossible to ignore. They arrived at their destination pretty soon. Waterside Loft was situated in the city center on prime land. It was in the busiest area possible but had a great view of the greenery as well. Waterside Loft provided some quiet in the otherwise busy environment. Hence, it was a popular choice. I'll park the car. Zhang Li stopped the car at the entrance and said to the man behind, Master Wang, I've booked the private room. You can take Nian Nian there first, I'll go over once I've parked the car. Xiao Nian finally heard the man beside her speak. Let's go. Chapter 5, The Truly Wealthy. Xiao Nian thought about it and then followed behind him. Waterside Loft was huge, but that man seemed very familiar with the place. He had long legs, but she kept pace with him. Her head was hurting a little as she grabbed her bag. She set out to look for her biological parents just to find out who they were. But now it seemed like she had fallen into some deep trouble. Xiao Nian. She was busy catching up with the man when she heard a familiar and shocked voice. She looked up and saw a group of people standing in the dim area. Xiao Weiman, Mother Xiao, Xiao Chen, and old Madame Xiao were all standing around there. Besides the Xiao family, Fu Ji and Madame Fu were around too. There were 2 other women by the side in traditional outfits and the younger one had her arm hooked around the older one. The older woman had a head of white hair and a jade-beaded necklace. Her red dress emphasized her elegance and class. She was now turning to talk to the people around her, seemingly asking who Xiao Nian was. The Xiao family members had interesting expressions upon seeing Xiao Nian. What are you doing here? Xiao Weiman approached her in quick strides. His voice was low, but there was a hint of frustration in it. When Xiao Nian rejected his money, he still felt that she had an admirable character. Who knew that she actually followed them all the way here? Xiao Chen was going to formally be an apprentice to a master. The Fu family members were there to witness it as well. Xiao Weiman didn't want her to make things ugly later on, so he suppressed his anger and said, Nian Nian, your mom and grandma and I didn't chase you out, it was you who chose to put your information online in search of your biological parents. Now that you've found them, why are you here to cause trouble again? He thought that Xiao Nian overheard their appointment at Waterside Loft and decided to come along as well. He didn't see Ye Wangchuan when he took his wallet out and asked, did you think it through and decide that you still want the 10,000 yuan? He looked for the bank card in his wallet, all ready to hand it to her. Xiao Nian looked at how impatient he looked and was about to say something. But before she said a word, a hand reached across her and slipped the bank card back into Xiao Weiman's wallet. The man's hand then grabbed hers and he said, let us go, Grandpa yet is waiting for you. Xiao Nian was stunned for a moment. Anyone who knew her would know that she hated others touching her. The last time someone did that, she beat that person up and caused him to lie in hospital for 3 whole months. She could feel his warm palm on her hand and was hyper-aware of the sweat from his touch. She looked up at him. Did he really need to touch her? Xiao Nian thought of shaking him off but chose to swallow her words when she realized that the Xiao family was still watching. She couldn't even be bothered to look at Xiao Weiman again. She simply went and, under the watchful eyes of the Xiaos, headed into the private room with him. The Xiaos were in shock. Waterside Loft was different from other restaurants, it was way more popular and difficult to get a table here. They had to pull strings in order to get a reservation for tonight, and all they got was an ordinary cubicle. The one that Xiao Nian and the young man went into was a private room. That said enough about their difference in status.